adaptive intelligence. You searched for more. You wanted to become the best version of yourself. Your search is over, and the technology finally exists. To go beyond limits. Your time has come. Unleash your potential. AQ. Adaptive intelligence.
Welcome back, AQ Adaptive Intelligence community, to our very special Thinking Thursdays. And tonight, the topic of our discussion is going to be called Energetic Authenticity. Our special guest tonight is Ciyanna Lights, and she's an influencer, she's a coach, and she's a very talented woman. She also loves to do neurohacking and biohacking. So she meditates, she takes care of her body and her well-being, and she uses that to ascend to new heights. She's a singer, and she's done multiple shows all over the place. So I highly recommend you guys go watch her. She's also a former model, and she is very intellectual herself. So you'll catch her saying very wise and interesting things, even beyond her years. She's a mother, a very loving mother. And if you're interested in what she looked like in her younger years, yes, she was even cute back then. So as always, we recommend you guys check out our healing retreats and our neurohacking stuff that we give to you guys. Most of it completely for free, so be sure to check that out. And get ready for energetic authenticity. And without further ado, I bring to you Ciyanna Lights.
Thank you.
1 second, Ciyanna, let me come back on. Okay, there we go. So welcome, Ciyanna. So I'm super curious to know, like, what is your background? How did you start on this path of improving yourself? Because I feel like that's what you tell a lot of people to do, but where did that come from within your, say, like your childhood or your background? Tell us a little bit about little Ciyanna. How did she grow up?
Well, I've always been the observer, and I'm very timid, as many of my childhood had known me. I don't really speak a lot up until I was become a hairdresser, a singer, and they encouraged me to speak up, especially doing, clients' hair and traveling, at least say hi. But yeah, it took me a long time. And as well as on top of it, my daughter, as an extrovert, she encouraged me to speak up during especially like during the situation that I had with the custody battle. I asked her a few wise questions, adult wise, like, what happened if the other side had you. She's like, you got to fight for it. So that's where the encouragement, all comes from. And until today, she's very inspiring. That's, I mean, at the same time, I felt like that's what I wake up to. That's my inspiration every day. You know, I mean, I don't have her full time, but the time that I have her, I cherish that moment.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, Ciyanna, somebody just clicked on our video today and they want to know, why should they stay for this talk? What will they get out of what we're going to discuss today?
Authenticity is all realness. It's nothing, you know, fabricating upon who am I, perceiving myself to be. It's all about transparency and what I want to say. If I don't feel like saying, that's a different story, but most likely I would give you answer. I always have solution, not every solution, but I always will look for and do the research if I don't have the solution right there and then. But most of the time I've, you know, have the emotional intelligence, especially from a background of psychology major, UX, and that's where I graduated from as well. So I've known for well-rounded individual, not just one entity as being a performer when I was a teenager, or oh, I'm a hairdresser or a model back way when, you know, randomly, which I don't do it often, but it's all random. But it's all like me, you know. I enjoy everything of it.
Mm, I love it. So, because you seem to have multiple talents in different areas, which is uncommon for most people, right? Like most people, like they just go to the 9 to 5, they do their one thing, and that's all they know, right? The rest of the world
Yes.
doesn't exist. But you seem to have like talents in multiple different areas. It seems to me like you have a very curious mind. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I've always been inquisitive, and knowing that who I am, my daughter, which I only have one, she's very inquisitive herself. So sometimes certain question, I'm like, I couldn't even answer her because it's like, but I always find ways to navigate towards how a 8 year old, which is now 8 years old, perceive it as.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you're able to put yourself in that childlike perspective and see something for the first time, even though you might
Yes.
have seen it like 1,000 times before.
Yes. Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that you have the beginner's mindset. So let's talk a little bit about being authentic. So what does being authentic really mean to you?
Well, you know, it's all about not being competition with someone. You could look at someone, maybe they, yes, there's always someone smarter than me, better looking than me, more intelligent. And those are the people that I would gravitate, because I learn from them. I learn from how they think. I'm not so much of into like, yeah, beauty. You could like change your hair, change your makeup and so forth. You could change that, which I have that, but it's like I'm more towards like intellectual, and
Mm.
gravitating towards someone that knows more than me helps me a lot. And which, yeah, not to be competing with other people, because everyone has their own path and you can't compete with them because you're not there yet, maybe. And you just have to inspire by that.
Yeah, that's true. And I actually heard a conversation once, and it basically said, people that have more than you, there's two ways to look at it. You can look at it as they have more than me, I'm jealous, I hate them, or you can stop and say, I wonder what they know that I don't know, and this is kind of inspiring. I should learn more. And I
Right.
feel like the second option is always the better option.
It's always a better option. Yes. Yeah.
Why would you say that is?
You're your own true self. You're not forcing yourself to have someone like you just to like you, and then you're living in an empty shell deep down. When you feel the richness and say, you know, I live with myself, I could live with myself every day you could go on and say, I feel fulfilled even though I don't have everything that I wanted in the world. Other people have more, I don't have everything, but I have enough just to say, you know what, at least I'm rich from within, compared to many of the collective that I've known are very empty within. And there's a lot, actually. That's the sad part. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, that's true, especially during these crazy times, with the economies, collapsing and the government's like just like putting a chokehold on the economy itself. It's even more important, I would say, these days to have the right mindset. So what's something that helps you bring yourself back to that mindset, to focusing on yourself and not the external things so much.
I always go into nature a lot.
Mm,
Sauna's the other thing I go into. And the interesting thing is that people think I have this love, not like a better living situation and other, which I just felt, hey, there's time. Like I wish I have something more, but at the same time, those are inspiring things for me if I want to go towards that. But always back to myself is nature. It's a reminder, you know what, when I get to that point of like I feel like I'm doing even too much for myself or too much for some people, that they call the energy vampire, the one that's always
mm.
taking your energy and always sucking your energy dry without even realizing that, you know what, it goes both ways, that empathy is about learning about the other person and learning about who you are, which many of us don't know who we are.
Yeah, and that's kind of a scary thought, like you're gonna have to live with yourself for the rest of your life. You might as well get to know yourself.
Yes, yes.
What are
Yeah.
some of your favorite ways to get to know yourself?
Through singing since I was a teenager, I expressed my sadness or my sorrow through that, and it really helped heal me. And it also helped heal the people, the collective, or even the surrounding that's around me. And knowing in from a childhood up, even in hairdressing, when I do hair, there's certain clients always like, your voice is just so relaxing. It's like, and one of the clients, she's a little bit older, she's like, your voice just sound honey. It's like honey. So it's just, for me,
Mm,
it's a gift. It's a gift for me. It's a gift to my clients who, and I appreciate that, as even just little things like that.
that's beautiful. Yeah, like just sound itself can be really soothing, and
Yes.
it's awesome whenever you do come across somebody with a soothing voice and that can help relax you and calm you. How did you start down that path of learning how to use your voice for that? Because I know you
It,
you said you're a healer with voice, or can you explain that to me?
Oh, healing vocalist, which healing
Mm-hmm.
vocalist, I'm a performer. I perform every now and then if I get hired by, which is mainly by Cambodian people.
Mm-hmm.
Which I did a few, a Latin freestyle back way when with the other few. So yeah, I was in that Latin freestyle community too. So I love all those type of music. And yeah, to me that's healing. It's healing for me just to sing, and it's also healing for the people that's there, that's listening, because they feel exciting just having, vice versa, my present, their present. It's not just
Mm.
one presence.
That's true. Yeah, it's a true
Yeah,
interaction, and it's almost like an exchange of energy, right?
definitely. Yeah.
Interesting. So so what else do you do? I know that you said you do some coaching, and I always hear you saying wise things, like lots of wisdom on like your TikToks or your posts that you put on Facebook and all sorts of different platforms. Like, what's your inspiration? What's your motivation behind that?
Well, the motivation, I was in a dark place. I felt like my dark place of they call a shadow work been like endless, which means some of us gone through 6, 7 time in a lifetime. And I'm speaking of different layers because I've learned so much, and even in the profession and occupation, in jobs, hobbies. So I think it's because I put myself into it, and also because I was gifted, and I meant it as in like some people that believes in reincarnation. We've been here long enough in this, not just this lifetime. This was brought on previous lives as well. This is why, like singing, the voice is very natural. It's not like I have to pretend that like my speaking voice, this is my speaking voice. And then my singing, I felt like it's pretty in harmony with each other because why I'm saying it like that. It's amazing that there's some people that has a different speaking voice than singing voice. You know what I mean? So
That's
it's like,
true.
it's
That's very
wow.
true.
Then I was like, wow, that's a singer there. I didn't know that they sound like that.
That's true. I've actually met like multiple singers in my lifetime, and it's like you wouldn't know until you hear them sing. You're like, whoa, it's like the voice of an
Exactly,
angel. Like, what?
exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about how you think that, because you have your background in psychology, and I noticed you were talking about how you were going through like your own dark night of the soul, as Carl Jung puts it, right?
Yes.
Um, how do you think that, psychologically speaking, that sound and singing helps kind of bring you back to a better place from your
You know,
understanding in psychology?
we all know, even without the background of psychology, psychology is, I mean, the healing of music. It heals our soul, especially very soothing, something that resonate with us. I know there's people that resonate with rock music and hard rock, and I can't resonate with that. I could maybe slow rock. Yes, I sang slow rock, and so for me, it's more like pop, dance, yeah, freestyle, new wave, electro dance. Go for it. I'm into that. But
So it's like more high energy vibes, essentially, right?
yes, yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
actually noticed that myself. I used to go to a group that was called Law of Attraction, and they would meet every week. And
Mm,
something that I learned, because back then I was like pretty depressed, and they
yeah.
basically said, to watch your thoughts, and not just watch your thoughts, but also watch how your environment influences your thoughts. And that
Oh
includes the
yes.
movies you see, the people you hang out with, the music you listen to. And so like I noticed like I was listening to like a lot of rock back in my younger years, right? Like teenage rebellious phase, I guess you could call it. And there was like a lot of like anger and angst in that music, right? And it's like I realized that whenever I would listen to it, it would start to like flash back like angry memories. So I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna put something different on, more upbeat music like techno or like
Mm-hmm.
whatever
Yeah.
lifts your spirits essentially. And then stop listening to the songs, even if they trigger a bad memory or a thought, or even like a sad memory or a sad thought. If you remove that music, you'll see that your thoughts start to drift towards the positive.
Yes. Yes.
So it was
Be
fascinating for me to see that.
Definitely, because even my child, I always have to remind her certain music. I said, I'm sorry, you can't listen to that. I said, speak from the heart. When you speak from the heart. It's all, and from the love, a place of love. That's what she remember, from a place of love.
Yeah, and it's super
Yeah.
important because nowadays, like a lot of rappers, like they're being paid to have lyrics that are negative and like violent, and it's not conducive to a good society, and it's not conducive to like a good internal well-being, right? I'm not
No.
saying that doesn't have its time and place. It has its time
Right.
and place, but to
Right.
always listen to it all the time, it affects you, and it's important to know how it is affecting you. So what are some
Yes.
ways that you think it can affect us for the negative, and then we'll talk about how it can affect us for the positive.
When I just felt like the one that affecting in the negative side, it's because they're already impacting themselves and it's predisposition within themselves already. So it's nothing new. So it's what they had been programmed from a childhood or from their upbringing. It's natural. So I don't know if they're taking on a new thing. It's taken on another level of reminder of their been in program in a negative state. So this is just a reminder. They need to get out of it, and some just can't get out of it because it's hard work.
That's true. That's true. And
Yeah.
actually, like music, yeah, it really does go back like into childhood. Like I remember, like back in my childhood when I had like really happy days,
Mm.
my parents would always be playing Fleetwood Mac. I'm sure you're familiar with them, right? It's a very popular band. But like even now when I go back and listen to it now, it's like I kind of like relive those like nostalgic childhood moments, right? So it's like
Mm.
it can really take you back. Like music has this like timeless quality to it, it seems
Oh
like.
yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
So as far as coaching goes, like when you speak to your people, because I know you say a lot of good things to your people, the ones that follow you, what is it that you tell them about life in general as far as like coaching? Because I know you help them with that as well, right?
I know that we cannot always be positive. We cannot. We have our moments, but it's always monitoring your mindset and say, you know what? Okay, I can't always go on in this mindset because it does not. Okay, for an example, I could sleep, right? And not wake up until whenever. And I could sleep forever. And I maybe want to take some sleeping pill. I mean, this happened when I needed a rest. But no, it's like you have to force yourself, not force, motivate yourself. Listen, If you could put a smile on your face, it even helps. Not to force it, but don't force it. If that day is too heavy on your shoulder, then you know what? Take a rest. If you can't drive to nature, take a rest. If you could, go for it. You need nature to realign your energy with nature because you feel more at home. And sitting on the grass or lying down helps so much.
It does, it does. And for me, especially like being around water, like if it's like an
Yes.
ocean or a lake or even just like one of those little like fake ponds where they just like run water through the pump, even that just
Yeah.
relaxes me. Just the sound of water is just
Yeah.
relaxing to me.
It does. It does.
I think that's why I love to like always live places near water. It's because I've been to other places where there's like desert and it's not my thing.
Yeah, it does help with near water, that's for sure.
It does, it does. So So what are some things that you think would really radically change somebody's life for the better? Because I know you've had your past moments and you said you've had your dark night of the soul multiple times. What are some other things that have helped you besides nature, besides singing, besides the sauna? I know you mentioned a couple of things. I saw you meditating. Do you meditate regularly?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Interesting. What
Yes.
what what meditation protocol or ritual do you do?
I don't have a name for it because it's my own what fits, which means whatever music fits my moment at that moment. And I even say to people, listen, I could give you a length of songs and music, but it has to resonate with your soul. It has to feel, if you feel calm, that's right for you. If it doesn't feel right, sometimes it probably like trigger you to wake up or not, then you're not really in a, but then at the same time, for beginners, it takes a while. Like then you start with 10, 15 minutes, and then you could go on to up to an hour and so forth. And throughout the days, you could also meditate. So also yoga. Yoga is good, but you know, you have to be into it. You have to, I mean, I love hot yoga. And with especially meditation, with all these different things, what we found, especially I did a research during my college year in psychology course, one of the psychology courses, meditation is actually the most effective compared to yoga, gym, you know, all the above. And you know what? I use all the above still, but meditation is where you come back to life with
Yeah, I
nature.
know you're absolutely right. And one of my favorite
Yeah.
ways to wake up in the morning is I actually use a headband, like an EEG headband, and meditate at the same time, at least 30 minutes at the start of the day. Like that is the difference between meh or a bad day or a really good day. And so like I always try to prioritize that. That's the first thing I do as soon as I wake up. You know, maybe I'll
Hmm.
go to the bathroom and then do that. But super important because it
That's
sets up
good.
the rest of your day. And
Yes.
it sets up like your inner knowing of it's going to be okay. Everything is
Yes.
good. It's a good day and let's do something great. And so that's a great motivator.
That's
So if
good.
you're ever stuck in bed, for you guys listening, if you're stuck in bed and you don't know how to motivate yourself, just close your eyes and just meditate for a little while. There's actually some
Yes.
other good apps that you could use, like some meditation apps. One that comes to my mind is One Giant Mind. It's free, obviously. I'm not affiliated with them, but it helped me a lot. So there's a lot of like little tools that you can use, even if you're brand new. It'll help transition you into learning. And there's also
Yes.
lots of good neural benefits and psychological benefits to that.
Definitely.
Can you speak a little bit on the benefits in terms of psychology with meditation? And I keep coming back to psychology.
It really does clear your mind, you know, a lot. You know, it brings it produces serotonin, more serotonin. It produces your happy moment. I mean, it also, you know, if anyone has PTSD, because most of our memory in the back of our brain will transfer, but it takes practice up to the frontal lobe. So it just, you know, you gotta just practice. The key is keep practicing 10 minutes at a time, and then you'll get up to an hour.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned hot yoga because I was actually able to do that a couple times and I loved it. It was really fun. It was difficult, but it was fun. Um, but I think my most favorite form of meditation is actually neurohealing, which is a technique that I teach people. and that's because it's changed my life. I used to get migraines all the time, like brain fog, all this stuff, like inflammation. It was pretty bad. Like after a certain time, it was just overwhelming. But thanks to neurohealing, I was able to train my body to be able to fix itself. So I'm sure you've come up with other techniques that you've witnessed or experienced. What do you think is the most interesting of all the meditative techniques that you've tried?
I cannot pinpoint it. I don't have the answer to that one. Because why I'm saying that is that sometimes I sing, sometimes I harmonize with someone that's on YouTube, but mostly what I have to say is I would Google like soothing music. Whatever comes up, I click on it. If it resonates and it feels right, I go for it. You know?
Yeah, another good trick too is like if you have like a hot tub or like
Oh, that
basically
helps
like
too.
a
Yes.
tub to like
Yes.
be in there and then listen to music too. Also, like isochronic tones is really nice, like isochronic and binaural beats. Those have a special place for me because it helps me get into the zone. Like it helps me focus really well. So I kind of use that as part of my workflow, and it helps optimize my brain because it just synchronizes just right, and then I can really focus. And so focusing is effortless like that. So I love sharing these like little tips and tricks for everybody because these are like simple things that you can do that can really change your life. So that's
Well, I have vitamins for focus if anyone needs, We have,
interesting.
yeah. So
So
yeah,
what kind of vitamins are those?
they're um they're focus vitamins.
Focus vitamins. Interesting.
Yes,
What
focus
minerals do they
vitamin.
have?
Well, off the top of my head, I
You don't
can't.
know? Well, I know
But it
some of
had
them.
helped. It had helped me because it's organic, and I just started doing this, and I just also start taking that, which it helps me focus on what I need to, what tasks need to be done.
Oh, interesting. All right, I might be
Yeah.
interested in that. That sounds fascinating. I
Okay.
know. There's some other ones that I use. Some of them have like magnesium in them. Others have like potassium, like all the different minerals you need, and then yeah, also like the vitamins and omega threes, right? Like you need omega threes,
Yes.
particularly like from like seeds, like chia seed, things like that, flaxseed. But so yeah, so are there any other things that you think our audience should know about being authentic and like relating it back to all the things that we were discussing before?
Well, the key is always I feel like if something triggers the individual, that means you need healing in that part. I understand some people will brush it off and not want to deal with it and say, listen, nothing's wrong with me. That's not true. You're going to go on life. And I've had people that I've known 10, 20, 30 years. They are the same. I'm speaking of still negative. They wake up every morning like my life sucks or, oh my God, I'm like, and my brain just like I can't listen to this all the time, and a lot of time I came to the point like, so during pandemic also had taught me to disengage with them a lot, many different people, not just close friends, just people in general, doesn't matter who, name them, and but it did left me very, very lonely at time. But at the same time, hey, I gotta find balance again. Go out a little bit, have some friend, build new friendship, talk to people. Now I'm able to just converse with anyone. So that's a good thing at the same
That's a plus. That's a big
time.
plus.
Yes.
Yeah, especially like, especially nowadays when like everybody's like just like in their own little world, it seems like, with all these devices and stuff, it's like you have to force yourself to like kind of be a little bit more extroverted now, it seems
Yes.
like.
Yes.
Especially like
Yeah.
being locked up basically for the past 3 years.
Yes. And also behind the screen, social media, nobody really knows who they are. Like for me, I'll give you an example, like nobody really knows. Just because I post all these things, they don't know half of the story or a tons of other story that I don't post. You know what I mean? So, and some people would like feel like, oh, those stories are really about them or those stories about me. And I'm like, sometimes like looking at the post, I was seeing something from the news feed and I had to post that. But they're like, oh, you going through that? I'm like, I'm really happy at this moment. What's going on? So I'm like, no, my post, maybe I went through that 10 years ago, but at the moment, no, I'm not going through that. But I just saw something that reminded me to elaborate on what I need to at that time or have a, humorous thought during that moment. Depends.
That's true. There's a wise saying that says, "You don't see the world as it is. You see the world as you are."
Yeah, exactly.
So going back to what you were saying, right? Like if you can take care of your own inner world, once that is cleared up, then when you look at the external world, you'll see the beautiful things. But if you
Yes,
don't, then you'll just see the ugly things. So it's all
right.
a matter of like internal perspective first, and then everything else after.
Yeah, I also know when you started healing so much, and I even spoke about it in my one of my videos in TikTok. I felt like I've seen more red flags today than ever. And I've also had a humorous thought about, oh, I'm gonna see just a pink flag. I'm done. That's where I am. I'm at
A
that
pink flag.
point. I'm at that point. Yeah, I'm at the point like when I see just a slight of, pink, I think I got it. I got it now.
Hmm.
So, and then you just hope for that one person or those few people that align with your light. And then at the same
Hmm.
time, I also know that, my journey is very different. My journey is very more dramatic, which people think, oh, I'm living such a happy life. I look, they think, oh, you look this, you look that. No, it's not. It's not lavish. It's a lot of heavy burden within
So for
myself, but I don't make it.
so for those who are getting to know you for the first time, maybe they're on YouTube, maybe they're catching this live. What do you mean by this lifestyle that you're talking about? Explain it
The
to
li
them.
the lifestyle I'm talking about.
Hmm.
It just takes a lot of work. I'm speaking about hard work going into yourself. If you feel like certain trigger, for example, if someone doesn't treat you well, this is goes with anything, family members, friends, relationship, romantic relationship. If someone disrespect you, you say, listen, I don't like this. If they don't change, you really have to set boundaries. And obviously, in general, I always set boundaries before I even go into a relationship. My simple boundaries is always like, listen, my deal breakers, cheating and abuse. And that abuse means physical or mental. Those three is a deal breaker for me. And I understand people could change, but majority of the people on this planet cannot change. So what they had to learn is a hard pill to swallow, is you have to leave them for them to give them a break, because obviously even if they heal from that moment, they have other layers, which I'm already in another layer of healing. You know what I mean? So that's why I learned, some people, oh, maybe you'll go back with your past. For example, the father of your kid. No, no, that's never gonna happen because he's on a different level. And I'm not better than him or he's better than me or anything. It's just we don't think the same. We're not we align, we try to align just for our child. That's it. And as long our child feels good that we're in her present, that everyone's okay, that's all that matters at this point. Even though this time, yeah, it's never perfect, but we have to do what's good for the innocent.
Yeah, and that goes back to, being authentic, right?
Yes.
And it's difficult to try to get somebody else to be authentic. The
Mm-hmm.
only one that you can really help be authentic is yourself. And so that
Exactly.
should be the primary focus, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I realized that there's no way you could say, hey, let's be authentic within yourself. It's only like you could only set example and go from it. If they want to act upon it or try to be or practice, there's always a step to it.
Mm.
So if they're willing to put in that work, then that's where it starts.
So what would you say is the first 1 to 3 steps of getting to that authenticity? Like say for example, if somebody has been living inauthentically and now they choose to practice more authenticity in their life, what's the first question they'd have to ask themselves?
Who am I? what is my purpose on this earth? You know, and why do I say certain things to that person, even though it's not honest or transparent or it's not true? How could I say it like, hey, this is who I am. I'm relaxed. Listen, I am Ciyanna. I'm a singer. This is what I do. It's okay if you don't feel inspired by me, but you could look at it as, hey, there's another people that you'll be inspired by. So it's probably also a different level of understanding. So when a person doesn't resonate with you at that moment, does not mean they forget about you or what, because if your energy is pure, they'll always remember that pure energy. So it's also understand, listen, I could be myself. I could say, hey, I am sorry. This is what I did wrong. Or, hey, I did cause that car accident, instead of saying, I didn't touch your car. I didn't do that. That's yeah, that's what I've learned. Like, oh, let's give an example of a date. Go on a date. A guy go, so, what do you think of this? And then is it, being for me, I'm always like, hey, I'm not into monogamous, but a lot of people are not into that, especially this world with technology. They have a broader span of being a player. It's good for those players, for those real one that been wanting to maybe connect with someone. It's very difficult. So me knowing, I mean, myself understanding technology on top of that,
Yep.
I could understand, hey, if they change their location, or or if they or it's just I could be the best private investigator also. That's what one of my friends told me since 10 years ago. But I didn't go to school for that, but I would be great in that. Yeah.
Well, you have the talent.
Yes, I have the natural in that. Yeah.
So as far as like being authentic, it sounds like the first step is inner honesty, right?
Yeah,
And that's
admit that you're wrong. It's
yeah.
okay. You're
Hmm.
safe. You're safe to speak that you're wrong, because that's the starting of, I have goosebumps in just saying that. It's the starting of healing for yourself.
Mm.
That's where it starts, admitting to it.
Yeah, because if you don't admit that you have a problem, like if you're driving down the road and you have a pinched tire, like it popped, and you're like, there's no pinched tire, there's no pop tire, I'm good. You're just gonna wear out your car,
Right,
you
right.
know?
Yeah, right.
So it seems like it's almost like a commitment to yourself that you need to make.
Yes,
You have to
yes,
commit to finding the truth, no matter what it is, and being happy with that truth, no matter what the result is.
exactly.
Why do you think so many people struggle with that?
Because that's what we were taught. I mean, as a role model, as parents, and a lot of these parents are narcissists, actually. I feel kind of sad to say that, but there's a lot of them are like that. Even the population in general are pretty much like they call in the spiritual realm, they call it many reptilian. There's a lot of reptilian out there. There's not so many beautiful soul out there. There's just very rare they are spread all around. They are, but they're not close, because I felt like, okay, I'm one of them, but is there another one that's just like me? I haven't really found that yet. Maybe
Mm.
a little bit close, but not really.
Yeah, that was actually part of the reason why it motivated me to start AQ, is because I wanted to find like those beautiful souls, like those intellectual minds, like those people that just inspire you. And so like that's why I started like getting to know a lot of people, lots of different healers and practitioners and doctors and psychologists, and like this like very, very interesting assortment of individuals that I found even to be inspiring. And so like obviously you made the cut.
Thank you.
So I want to thank you for sharing like all the things
Mm.
that you share, like not just with us, but with everybody else online. It's like somebody was trying to call me there.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so before we go ahead and conclude, are there any final questions or tips that people should really take home with and really like ponder on? Like what's the one question, like when I walk away today, what's the one question I should be asking myself so that I can live a more authentic, energetic life?
I am safe. I feel safe within my soul that, you know what, no one's going to judge me just because I'm trying to heal or I'm trying to be a better person than today. So accept yourself. If you make a mistake, just admit that, you know, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, or I forgive myself. And I'm able to come forward with this. And it's not for anyone, it's for yourself, especially forgiveness. It's for yourself.
Mm,
So
that's
accept,
true.
yes, you're in
Hmm.
a safe place. That's what it is. Just remember, you're in a safe place. No one's
You're
going
in
to
a safe
judge you.
place.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah. That reminds me of a quote that I really like too. I believe it goes, when you forgive someone, you're not just forgiving them, you're forgiving all the weight that you've been carrying all this time because of that
Yes.
thing, whatever that happened. So set yourself free, like you set yourself free. You are your own
Yes.
captor when you hold on to any type of negativity or grudge. And so it's important to lift that and live more authentically and be happy and feel safe that you are who you are and that you're glad to be you.
Yes.
Awesome. I
Definitely.
love that. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
sharing your wisdom,
Thank you
Ciyanna.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And I will catch you, everybody else. I'll catch you guys next time. If you guys want to join us for our next interview, you want to join in live and ask questions, you're more than welcome to do that. Just check out our website, click on the events tab, and this is Thinking Thursdays.
Thank you,
So thank
everyone.
you so much,
Stay
Ciyanna.
well.
Take care,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye bye, everyone.